Court of Pakistan today declared that his arrest was not legal, but they ordered to release him. And Imran Khan requested the Supreme Court that he wanted to go to his home in Islamabad, which is situated in Bani Gala. But Supreme Court said that no, you cannot go to your home. You will be the guest of the Supreme Court. And he asked the Inspector General Police of Islamabad to arrange the guest house in the police lines in Islamabad. So right now, Imran Khan is free, but he is in the custody of the Islamabad police. And now, just few moments ago, he was transferred to the guest house in the police lines area. And the Supreme Court also allowed 6 family members of Imran Khan that they can also spend the night with him in the same guest.
So what do you make of that? The court saying on the one hand his arrest was illegal, he should be released forthwith, yet at the same time the court also saying that he should be kept in a guest house under the custody of the Supreme Court, if you will. He has to be produced in the Islamabad High Court tomorrow. He has to join the investigations by the National Accountability Bureau. So technically, he is not a free man just yet. What do you make of that?
I think that he is partially free because, you see, the arrest warrant, which was issued by the National Accountability Bureau, that arrest warrant was not discussed in Supreme Court today. So as far as my legal knowledge is concerned, so that arrest warrant is still valid. And according to that arrest warrant, the NAB will try the level best to implement the arrest warrant. And when tomorrow Imran Khan will go to Islamabad High Court again and complete the process, and then definitely he will come out of the Islamabad High Court. So NAB can arrest him again. But it's not only one case. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan also told Imran Khan that there are many cases against you. And he was aware that there are many cases. And as far as my knowledge is concerned, in 2 cases, there was an arrest warrant, which was issued many weeks ago, but it was not implemented. If you remember that many weeks ago, a party of the Islamabad police, they went to Lahore and they approached Imran Khan to implement the arrest warrant. They just wanted to show him the arrest warrant. But on that day, the supporters and workers of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, they never allowed Islamabad police to enter inside the house of Imran Khan.
Okay.
So that arrest warrant is still valid. And there is another arrest warrant in another case. And also, the Tosha Khana case is very important, and Imran Khan was indicted yesterday in the special court. So the problems for Imran Khan are not over.
So those are all the legal troubles and the legalese. But politically, Imran Khan can turn around and tell his supporters that this is exactly what I've been warning all along. These supporters have been rioting. They've been attacking civilian as well as army installations. He can turn around and tell them that this validates and vindicates his position that there is a corrupt system out there represented by the civilian government and maybe even elements within the army. And he's the guy who's trying to fix the system, and now the system is fixing him. So in a sense, the events of the last couple of days, politically speaking, when he is finally fully released, doesn't this vindicate his position?
Actually, the case in which Imran Khan has been arrested, the case is very strong as far as my understanding is concerned. And Imran Khan was asked by the National Accountability Bureau to join the investigation, but he was reluctant to join the investigation. And they sent him many requests that he and his wife, Bushra Bibi, they should join the investigation. But they never joined the investigation. Today, Imran Khan told the Supreme Court that I responded National Accountability Bureau through my lawyer.
Okay.
But that is not the case. I think that there are some other cases also in which Imran Khan was asked to join the investigation, and he never joined the investigation. So it's good that the Supreme Court have provided an opportunity to Imran Khan that now the NAB can contact him tomorrow in the premises of the Islamabad High Court. Then he will come out and they can, talk to NAB through his lawyers. But I think that Imran Khan may be arrested in some other case in coming few days.
So in the interim, what we saw in the last 2 days, unprecedented scenes, PTI supporters attacking army installations. I can't remember the last time such a thing happened, that army establishments were attacked. What do these events mean for this delicate sort of face-off that's been going on between Imran Khan and, of course, the civilian government on the one side, but more importantly, Imran Khan and the army?
But this is the first time that Imran Khan was arrested and Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf attacked not only Corps Commander House in Lahore, but they tried to enter in GHQ, and today they tried to enter in the Corps Commander House in Multan. And they are also attacking the offices of the paramilitary troops in different cities of Pakistan. You see, why they are doing this? Because this is not a political party. Actually, their reaction is not political. This reaction is non-political. This reaction is not the reaction of PTI, which is a political party. This reaction is the reaction of TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And today, one commander of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, he issued a statement and he is saying that we are also supporting PTI. So this is not a response of a political party. This is the response of a fan club, which is very angry over the arrest of their leader.
All right, so that's a big statement that you're making, that this is not just the response of PTI workers, but possibly also response of the TTP. Of course, Imran Khan has been accused of being hand in glove with the Islamist elements there. But we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Ahmed Mir, for joining us. Let me now open this up. Ahmed Javed is a former advisor to Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan. Hafizullah Niazi is a columnist, also happens to be a cousin of Imran Khan. Engineer Iftikhar Chaudhary is a PTI spokesperson. G. Partsarthi, former Indian diplomat, also joining us. Ahmed Javed, the law is clear, and today's Supreme Court's reading of the law is also very clear. What they have taken exception to is the fact that he was arrested from the premises of a top court, from the Islamabad High Court. They have not gone into the merits or otherwise of the warrant against him in the first place.
Zakab, if you allow me, I was just listening to the discussion you were just having with Mr. Hamid Mir, and he was referring to a terminology which is quite unprofessional when we say largest political party of Pakistan as fan club. It's not a fan club. It's the third political force which has defeated the 75 years political status quo. So calling it fan club is highly unprofessional and insulting. Second thing I would like to clarify that in last 48 hours, the public reaction, I call it public reaction. Yes, journalists like Hamid Mir would call it as a PTI reaction. I call it public reaction. Public reaction because of what? It is since 9 April 2022, the regime change, bringing a corrupt regime change with the help of facilitator. So it was reaction to that. It was the terrible economy in last 1 year. That was the reaction. Arrest of Imran Khan, that was the reaction. Victimization of PTI, that was the reaction. So public reacted, and the arrest of Imran Khan was that tipping point when the public came out. It was a pressure cooker in last 1 year that the public was going through. So they reacted. And when public reacts, it cannot be measured. It cannot be calculated. It cannot be regulated. Public will has reacted in the history in many countries, and you cannot control the extent of the public reaction.
No,
public
sir.
reacts
So
to the injustice.
there is a bottom line in countries where there is a rule of law. You cannot take the law into your own hands. And what we saw over the last 2 days in many parts of Pakistan was sections of, you want to call them political party workers, you want to call them whatever you want. Fact is that they took the law into their own hands. And that, in a country that abides by the rule of law, is unacceptable. That's unacceptable in any civilized society. But be that as it may,
Okay.
I'm no one to quibble with how people chose to react. Hafizullah Niazi, the point is not that. The point is that Imran Khan may have been released today, at least partially released, with the Supreme Court saying his arrest was illegal and he needs to be released, but he will be in police lines custody, as it were. But this doesn't mean that he's a free man. He has more than 100 cases against him. There are at least, perhaps more, but at least certainly 3 arrest warrants that are pending and alive right now against Imran Khan. He can be arrested in any of those cases and against any of those pending arrest warrants.
First of all, thank you very much. Really, I don't want to take my own dirty linen, whatever is going on in Pakistan, to wash somewhere away from Pakistan. But my friend from my own country, or possibly representing PTI, he, I think, misunderstood Hamid Mir's argument. Because I know Hamid Mir very well. We work together in same channel. We both work with Geo. And but really, he's like putting up this kind of argument. I mean, it's a continuity of his trail of arguments with this respect. What he meant was that it was an extremist reaction. And naturally, last time when some of the people got apprehended from Imran Khan's crowd, so they did belong to TTP, and they were shown on TV. And it's naturally TTP people also are having political leaning with different parties in Pakistan, and they are the Pakistani end of the day. No, whatever happened, Supreme Court, I think it was not that unusual.
No, but once again, Mr. Niazi, I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but are you justifying that members of a terrorist organization were part of the violent scenes that we saw over the last couple of days?
I think that really I don't want to get into, don't want to elaborate that part of my discussion. But in a way, I think that maybe they're having leanings because they keep on supporting, they give sometimes statements in someone's favor. It's not Imran's fault or my fault if someone say that I'm supporting Mr. Niazi if he, as long as he is a registered voter anywhere. I mean, you have got so many people in Tamil Nadu who are just might be putting up arms against India, and naturally they're sometimes there to cast their vote. So that is a pretty tricky and intricate thing to explain. Okay. But end of the day, principally, whatever you mean, I do agree with you. Then you can't take them along and don't bring them in the
Engineer Iftikhar Chaudhary,
in the front row of your party.
The unprecedented violence that we saw and violence against army installations. I mean, you heard what Hamid Mir said. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was hanged, and there wasn't this kind of violence against army installations. What justifies this kind of reaction from Imran Khan supporters? Like I said, no one has a problem with the public reacting in protest, in anger, but there is something called the rule of law. And what essentially we saw over the last couple of days was the breakdown of the rule of law. It was essentially a challenge to the authority of the Pakistan army to maintain order in that country. Mr. Chaudhary. Okay, we've lost that. Let's ask Ambassador Parthasarathy that.
Look, I think I agree with what my Pakistani friends have broadly said. Some points. One, if there is an election held in Pakistan, I think the general feeling across the world, I've lived 5.5 years in Pakistan, is that Imran Khan will sweep it. He will win outright. This is the feeling from Pakistan, and therefore there is naturally concern in other parties about this. I'm just saying it's a feeling. I'm not saying it's the truth, but this seems to be widespread across, even both in Punjab and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Now, As for the happenings there, let's face it, Imran Khan is not, as they say in Hindi, if my Pakistani friends don't mind, दूध का धुला हुआ. He is a politician. He can be quite abrasive. I met him first in 1982 when he captained the cricket team. Extremely arrogant, and therefore there are qualities in him which raise passions amongst others. Right now, in this case, I think that he has an additional complication.
Which is?
He was the one who really almost ruined the career of Asim Munir, the present chief.
Mm-hmm.
He had him shifted from the position of DGISI to somewhere which was totally uncalled for.
Okay.
And it was a personal prejudice. And I don't think Asim Munir is going to forget. He made it back because of the benevolence of General Bajwa. So there is an army anger led by the army chief, which is not going to, it won't show itself. The Pakistan army is very professional. It will not show itself, but take it from me, there will be enough cases registered against Imran Khan to prevent him from competing. Now, in the case of the Chief Justice, and I, with all due respects to the judiciary, and I hope my Pakistani friends don't misunderstand, I've been told by Pakistanis that he is too close to the Imran Khan family.
Okay.
And in fact, he was expecting favors in return because his term comes to an end sometime this year. So this is all a human thing afflicting a country. But a country where you must remember the army calls the shots in an ultimate analysis.
Right.
If you are a Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, you will get hanged. If you are Benazir Bhutto, you get shot. That happens. Now, therefore, we are into election season. As I said, the general assessment which I share.
Yeah, sure.
In an election, he will win.
You made that point. But is the attempt, and I want to ask Ahmed Javed this, there is a feeling, certainly among PTI workers and Imran Khan supporters, that the entire attempt that's happening here is to ensure that Mr. Khan does not get to contest the upcoming elections, because if he does, he could likely win. The point that Mr. Parsarthi made, I think, is a very, very valid one. Mr. Imran Khan was General Asim Munir, and surely the army in Pakistan, we know, does not forget. And even if it does, I mean, what has happened over the last 2 days is a direct challenge to the authority of the army. Why would the army let that pass? Mr. Javed.
Zakab, my way of conversation is that I don't do my conversation on rumors and assumptions and presumptions. Whether when he was DGISI, he was removed to some other place. Yes, there are rumors, but when we sit in a conversation, in a formal conversation, obviously we don't base our logic and argument based on a rumor. So forget about it, that whether he was removed on Imran Khan's pretext or he was removed by the previous army chief.
But what about the events of the last 2 days? Today. Isn't that a challenge, a direct challenge to the authority of the army?
We are talking about today. So let me clarify a very important discussion about the public reaction and the rule of law. When I say public reaction, I'm not justifying that what the public has done yesterday, destroying the public property, or attacking the military facilities. What I'm saying is that you must understand that this instruction has not come from the PTI leadership, not from PTI chairman. He was in jail, he was in their custody. Leadership was arrested. There was no social media, their internet was blocked. So there was no communication between the top leadership and the PTI workers or the voters. It was a public reaction without any instruction. And I told you the reasons behind the public reaction. And when public reacts, it is not very much regulated. Whatever
but
the incident
Mr.
you
Javed,
take from
Mr.
the
Javed,
history
I'm
in
sorry,
Iran,
I'm sorry.
in
I want to
America,
underline.
France,
I'm sorry, I'm
East
interrupting.
Pakistan.
But I want to underline the fairly unprecedented nature of the violence that we saw over the last 2 days. When General Musharraf had that coup in 1999, ousting Nawaz Sharif from power, there were no army installations that were attacked by PMLN folks. When the lawyers took out the Long March against General Musharraf in 2007-8, again, army installations were not attacked. Why are we seeing for the first time the Pakistan Army's writ and its control over the country being directly challenged by members of a political party, or even if you want to call it the general public? We didn't see it when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was hanged. It was not like General Zia-ul Haq's house was run over.
Zaka, it's a very valid question. Let me answer this question. Why there is a difference between the incident in the history like Zulfikar Ali Bhutto or Nawaz Sharif or Benazir, and why today such a massive reaction has come from the public? First of all, the difference is that nobody has reached to the level of popularity what Imran Khan has achieved in 75 years. No leader has ever achieved. Now, point number two, we are comparing today with yesterday when the media was controlled, when media was regulated by establishment or by the government. Today, we are living in digital world where social media is the voice. In Pakistan, there are 120 million people on social media, and there are 180 million people who are using mobile and internet. So imagine what kind of awareness you will expect from this digital generation.
Okay.
You have to discriminate the phases. You cannot compare it with 70s or with 90s.
Okay, fair enough. I don't have a quibble with that. I agree. I mean, social media, we've seen this in other countries, you know, in the Arab world, for example, where there was a sudden burst of public sentiment. But I'll give the final word to Hafizullah Niazi. The point is simply this, Mr. Niazi. The entire system, and you can quibble with it, but the fact is the entire system, the civilian government, powerful sections within the army, now have a common cause to rally against, and that happens to be Imran Khan. And Imran Khan gave them that common cause. He is the reason why they are rallying against him.
In fact, it's really quite complex situation because Imran Khan is a pure indigenous product of the Bajwa himself. I mean, it's a homegrown. It was seeded. It was, and it was grew, but whatever he's here, he was made entirely from the military top process at that time. But really wonder, right, that Imran Khan in the last 1 year, he wanted to oust the government, uproot the system he wanted. And he was supposed to bring out almost, he promised that almost, I think that 3 million people, he said, I will bring to Islamabad. And then I'll force you to hold election. What happened? Even couldn't gather 5,000-6,000 people there. Then he really did 100 public meetings where he took oath from the people that they are coming to Rawalpindi. Number one, to stop appointment of, to impede appointment of CS
We'll see how the story plays out. I'm completely out of time. I'm sorry I'm interrupting Mr. Niazi there. But, I think it's very, very clear. I think the army will not let this pass. Maybe Imran Khan has got relief in one case. There are hundreds of cases that have been filed against him. Like I said, there are active arrest warrants out against him, any of which can be executed anytime as the enforcement agencies so choose. So this story is far from over. Imran Khan may be partially free, but not fully free yet. We'll see how it plays out. Meanwhile, I want to shift focus now to a domestic story, and a huge one with implications for our politics. It's coming in from the state of Maharashtra, where nearly a year after Eknath Shinde's rebellion against the Sena leadership of Uddhav Thackeray, the Supreme Court has declared that the status quo ante cannot be restored because Uddhav Thackeray resigned without facing a floor test. So, Eknath Shinde gets to keep his job and Uddhav Thackeray gets a moral vindication. But has it settled the Sena versus Sena war?
Had Mr. Thackeray refrained from resigning from the post of the Chief Minister, this court could have considered the grant of the remedy of reinstating the government headed by him.
A Supreme Court bench led by the Chief Justice observing that Uddhav Thackeray's resignation last year was a mistake. The apex court declined to restore status quo in Maharashtra, which means that Chief Minister Eknath Shinde gets to keep his job.
जैसे सर्वोच्च न्यायालय ने कहा कि अगर मैं रिजाइन नहीं करता, मैं इस्तीफा नहीं देता, तो शायद मैं वापस मुख्यमंत्री बन जाता। मैं मेरे लिए नहीं लड़ रहा हूँ। मेरी लड़ाई जनता के लिए है, मेरे देश के लिए, मेरे राज्य के लिए है। और भले हम इसके पहले राजनीति में विवाद तो होते रहते हैं, लेकिन एक मत तो हमारा हो गया है कि इस देश को हमें बचाना है।
Shinde and his deputy Devendra Fadnavis claimed vindication.
हम लोगों ने जो सरकार स्थापित किया है, वो पूरी तरह से कानून और घटना इसका आदर करते हुए हम लोगों ने किया है। और जो जिनके पास बहुमत नहीं था, उन्होंने रिजाइन किया है।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट बहुत स्पष्टता से कहता है कि गवर्नर साहब ने शिंदे जी को मुख्यमंत्री पद की शपथ लेने का जो न्योता दिया वो सही है। इसका ही मतलब ये होता है कि शिंदे जी के नेतृत्व में जो सरकार तैयार हुई है वो लेजिटिमेट है, वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल है और इसलिए हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं।
But the Supreme Court did pull up then Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari for taking decisions that helped the Shinde faction, like concluding that Thackeray had lost the support of the majority of MLAs and calling for a flow test.
जो मसला सुप्रीम कोर्ट में था, उस मसले पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपना निर्णय दे दिया है। उस निर्णय पर जो कानूनविद हैं वही अपनी राय व्यक्त करेंगे। मुझे नहीं लगता कि मैं चूंकि कानून का विद्यार्थी हूँ नहीं, मैं केवल संसदीय परंपराएं जानता हूँ और विधायी परंपराएं जानता हूँ। उस हिसाब से मैंने जिस समय जो भी कदम लिए सोच समझ के लिए।
The Supreme Court also said it can't disqualify Shinde and 15 other MLAs for revolting against Uddhav Thackeray in June last year. That power will rest with the Speaker until a larger panel of judges rules on it.
तर यात त्यांनी स्पष्टपणे इंटरप्रिटेशन दिलंय शेड्यूल 10चं आणि असं म्हटलंय की पॉलिटिकल पार्टीचं व्हिप ऍप्लिकेबल व्हायला पाहिजे.
Now the speaker will decide the disqualification and then whatever happens it will follow. The Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena party will remain into operation.
But today's verdict has only intensified the war of words between Uddhav Thackeray and Eknath Shinde camps.
जितने भी रीजनल पार्टी है उनको एक सबक मिलेगा, क्योंकि आप देखेंगे जितना रीजनल पार्टी है वो फैमिली परिवार चला लिया, और परिवार अगर डिसीजन लेती है कि हम जो उनकी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के विचार है, उसको छोड़ के अपोजिशन के अगर साथ परिवार जाएगा तो पार्टी नहीं जाएगी, पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता नहीं जाएगी। ये सबक ये डिसीजन के माध्यम से मिलेगा।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का अगर आप निर्णय देखें तो हम खुश हैं कि देश में लोकतंत्र और न्याय व्यवस्था आज भी जिंदा है।
So will the Supreme Court verdict only give further ammunition to both sides to up the ante?
All right, let me first go across to our first top legal voice who's joining us. Satish Manshinde is a senior lawyer with the Bombay High Court. He's now joining us. Mr. Manshinde, what the court essentially has said is while the actions of the Speaker and the Governor may have been bona fide erroneous, but the status quo ante cannot be restored because Mr. Thackeray chose to resign and not take the floor test. So net-net, nothing really changes. While you can argue constitutional morality and otherwise, but politically or legally, the current government continues.
Well, what actually happened was very unfortunate in the sense that the electorate elected the BJP and the Shiv Sena together. And Uddhav Thackeray walking away from the alliance was itself a stab in the back of the electorate. And I think ultimately, the just deserts have been served in the sense that in spite of the fact that he was sitting in the Chief Minister's chair and the governor had asked him to prove his majority, whether rightly or wrongly, he chose to resign and leave the field voluntarily. It's like walking away from the boxing match, and he left no option for the Supreme Court to pass an order that was passed today, because the Supreme Court, if you remember, at the very initial stage, had said that how do you expect us to put you back in the saddle once having voluntarily resigned? And nobody asked him to resign at that time. And if you have seen Mr. Sharad Pawar's book, which has been recently released, I mean, even Mr. Sharad Pawar, who is the most seasoned politician of Maharashtra today, has said that his resignation left him in bad taste. And it was a totally uncalculated move that he took independently. And it totally showed immaturity on his part. First of all, he showed his immaturity in the sense that he did not even know that 16 of his MLAs who were provided with the security which Maharashtra government had offered those MLAs, left quietly and walked away to Surat in whatever manner. And he showed his inept handling of the situation in the sense that he did not even have the maturity to keep his flock together.
But Mr. Shinde, hasn't the court also today, in a sense, rapped on the knuckles both the Speaker for his actions, saying that his appointment of the whip or his recognition of the whip was illegal? Mr. Gungale, the new whip who was appointed, and two, also the governor, saying that the governor had no business asking for a floor test because this was an intra-party dispute and there was no material evidence to show that Mr. Thackeray had lost the confidence of a majority of his MLAs.
Well, the Supreme Court may have said whatever it has said today, but the governor, being in a tight situation during that time, was left with no option but to ask for the floor test, because in Bommai's case, the Supreme Court has always said the real test of strength of the Chief Minister is on the floor of the Assembly. And he did not want to see those people who are being paraded before him or the list furnished to him. So he asked him to prove his majority. Rightly or wrongly, he took a decision. In posterity, if the decision has been held to be wrong, then the next legal course will take charge.
But Mr. Shinde, has this now set a precedent for governors that if there is an intra-party dispute, unless the MLAs explicitly say they are withdrawing support, and more than two-thirds of them say they are withdrawing support, there is no mechanism of a floor test, or it's not the business of the Speaker or the Governor to decide the strength of a legislature party?
See, there have been conflicting opinions. In Bommai's case, the Supreme Court said that the real test of a Chief Minister is on the floor of the Assembly. Now we have a judgment of this nature. Ultimately, the matter has been referred to a larger bench. And I think the larger bench will decide what should actually prevail.
Okay, Mr. Satish Shinde, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how this story plays out. But it is an important marker, this, in many ways, more than one. You heard one legal point of view. To get the other side, Abhishek Manu Singhvi is senior lawyer in the Supreme Court. He was also representing the Uddhav Thackeray faction in this particular legal fight. Dr. Singhvi, the Supreme Court has basically said that had Mr. Thackeray not resigned, status quo ante could have been restored. So really, nothing changes, and Mr. Thackeray is to blame because he should have taken the floor test. Even if he lost the floor test, the Supreme Court could have reinstated his government. But because he voluntarily resigned before the floor test, there's nothing the court can do.
The judgment says that the Speaker must decide the pending disqualification petitions, quote unquote, within a reasonable time. Now, let me tell you, if you are the Speaker and you pick up any of those disqualification petitions, Zaka, there is no other decision possible except disqualifying me. Why? Because that action, which is the subject matter of the disqualification petition, is only the action against the whip. That whip has now been validated by this judgment. Today, the judgment says that the whip of the political party is the whip, not the whip of the legislative party. Now, all the disqualifications, or most of them, are the ones where the allegation is that you violated the whip.
Okay.
Now, if you violated the whip, there is nothing the Speaker can do. The only decision he can do is to disqualify you. However, and that's what I said in the press conference today, it is for this reason that I expect and anticipate that you will get now delaying tactics started. You will have the speaker either deciding not to decide or delaying the matter, or of course, since he really cannot decide anything but this, deciding something patently wrong, saying they're not disqualified.
But Mr. Singh, Dr. Singhvi, now in hindsight, and I know hindsight is a wise thing, as they say, but the court is of the opinion that Mr. Thackeray should not have resigned, and had he not resigned, perhaps status quo ante could have been restored. So in hindsight, do you believe Mr. Thackeray was wrongly advised legally to step down before facing the floor test?
Nobody knows who advised him. Nobody knows whether it was legal advised. Nobody knows if it was non-legal advice. But let me tell you that wisdom by hindsight is always 20/20. Yes, in the light of what the Supreme Court has said, the matter, he would have had a different remedial framework had he not resigned. But the point is that today, the Supreme Court has said, the same court has said, you decide the disqualifications. Okay, he resigned then. By the way, the basis of what he resigned was in the floor test. And the decision to call the floor test has been held to be illegal.
Yeah.
But let me assume that there was a mistake. Somebody advised, what advice we don't know.
Okay.
But the point is, today, if the speaker were fair bona fide, if Mr. Shinde's statements were not the ones which are coming today, I'm told that he says it's nothing but a procedural issue, or the speaker says it's nothing but a procedural issue.
Okay.
But I can only say, Zaka, that we are living in Alice in Wonderland land then. Words mean what they say, what you say they mean. If these 5 substantive findings can be called procedural irregularities, then I think we have to relearn the English lexicon.
No. So while on the one hand, you're right that the court has come down heavily both on the actions of the speaker and on the actions of the governor, but there is no material impact, because on the one hand, it says that the speaker's decision to appoint a new chief whip was illegal, but it's not restoring the old whip of the party. It's also saying the governor's decision to call for a floor test was bona fide wrong, but it's also affirming the governor's decision to invite Mr. Shinde for the oath of office. So, net, the material aspect has not gone in Mr. Thackeray's favor. Maybe the moral aspect has, but the material aspect is not.
No. Please, you're mixing up. Every decision of high personages, high post holders like governor, speaker, and others has been declared, I repeat, declared by 5 judges to be illegal, which means it doesn't exist in law. However, what you are saying is breaking up the same point, that because he resigned, there was nothing the governor could restore. Now, if he has resigned, they cannot direct the governor to restore a person who has resigned voluntarily. That does not mean that there is any caveat in the holding that the governor is wrong, that the speaker is wrong, that the appointment of the whip is wrong, that the whip of the other chap, Bogavle, cannot be of any legal standing. Yeah. There is no caveat in that. It's unconditional. Yes, obviously, otherwise Thackeray would have been restored back.
Correct.
So therefore, the point of the matter is that in every which way you have been exposed. If you had any shame, which we are sure you will not do, you would have, gone. But today, we have no hope also of the speaker deciding fairly. I think we have to go to court again. It's as simple as that.
All right, Dr. Singh, we'll leave it at that. Let's see how this plays out. You have said that you will be going to court again because you don't expect the speaker to decide in your favor or decide at all in the first place. But let me also get in a view from the Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray faction. Priyanka Chaturvedi is Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament of the Shiv Sena UBT. The Supreme Court basically saying that had your leader, the former Chief Minister, Mr. Thackeray, decided not to resign, the Supreme Court could have restored the status quo ante. In hindsight, was Mr. Thackeray badly advised legally? Was his resignation incorrect? And, is that what cost him today? Yes, he has the moral high ground, but politically he's nowhere.
No, absolutely not. In hindsight or even as foresight, we are very clear that it was the Supreme Court which they're saying is unconstitutional, the governor's order for floor test, we had requested them for a stay at that point in time. The stay was denied. So as a moral responsibility, and having known that the court case hasn't gone in the favor of staying the floor test, he stepped down, and that is what morality would say. So in hindsight, in foresight, or as an insight, I can tell you one thing. This government is working on the basis of unconstitutionality. Two things, important things that the judgment has said is A, legislative party cannot be acknowledged as a legal party, as a political party. So that's step one. Step two, that the whip that they had appointed is an illegal whip. Third, the floor test was unconstitutional. So now on the basis of a speaker's trust vote, and the speaker getting elected, which is Mr. Rahul Narvekar, happened on the basis of an illegal whip, deciding who they will vote for, and the entire election of the speaker is based on the unconstitutionality of it all. So the question would now be, after the Supreme Court judgment, that this entire government has lost its moral authority to govern. It is an unconstitutional and illegal government. From falling short of saying that,
the court has not in any way in today's judgment opined that the current dispensation is illegal or unconstitutional in any nature. In fact, it is said that while the governor had no business asking for the floor test for an intra-party dispute, it has said that he was right in his decision to invite Mr. Shinde to take the oath of office. So nowhere in today's judgment has the court said that Mr. Shinde's government is illegal and unconstitutional. So therefore, the government stands.
No, let me repeat to you, the government can stand, but morally it has lost. And I'll tell you, I've given you the sequence of events. These MLAs' disqualification is also going back to the speaker. The whip that will be applicable would be the whip decided by the political party chairperson, which is Uddhav Thackeray, and our whip would work on those rebel candidates too. And anyone going against the whip stands to be disqualified. And that is Speaker's domain to decide. Second thing that the Supreme Court has ruled is that the Election Commission cannot decide on the basis of legislative strength whether the party belongs to that person who has more legislative strength. Thirdly, it is very apparent that without using the words illegal and unconstitutional, the steps that were followed to ensure the government came to power, the BJP, Shiv Sena, the Shinde Sena government came to power, came on the basis of an unconstitutional voting pattern. When your whip is illegal, how can he choose who to vote for? How can he make the speaker the speaker? Oh. So there are 40 MLAs who have gone against the, have gone along with the illegal whip.
No, so tell me now, what does Mr. Thackeray plan to do? The government of Mr. Shinde continues. The numbers are firmly with him. You may disagree about, what the court said. I don't think the court anywhere said that Mr. Shinde's government is illegal or unconstitutional. You can disagree on that. How are you going to respond? How is the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena going to respond to this, both legally and politically? Can you hear me, ma'am? Okay. All right. I think we've lost that link with Priyanka Chaturvedi. We'll try and see if we can re-establish that. But essentially what she was saying is that they believe, the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena believes that today's judgment vindicates their position that the whip and the appointment of the whip was deemed illegal by the Supreme Court, by the Speaker, and also that the governor had no business calling for the floor test for what was essentially an intra-party dispute when there was no material evidence to show that the majority of the MLAs of the Shiv Sena were withdrawing their support or had lost confidence in the leadership of Uddhav Thackeray. But that's not the view taken by the other side, the Shinde faction. We'll get our final newsmaker tonight on the show. Deepak Kesarkar is Maharashtra School Education Minister and also speaks on behalf of the Shinde faction. The Supreme Court essentially today saying that status quo ante cannot be restored because Mr. Thackeray decided to resign and did not face the floor test. For now, the BJP Shinde faction government is safe. But do you believe what the court said about the role of the governor, the role of the speaker, saying that some of their actions were illegal and unconstitutional, basically deprives your government of a constitutional and legal basis to stand on?
You'll have to understand one thing, that the written judgment has not yet received by us. At the same time, there are no particular guidelines how the governor should act in such cases.
Okay.
This is a good thing that now there are written guidelines when situation like that arises, what decision the governor has to take. Those guidelines are there, which will be very useful in future.
But the court has also said, Mr. Kesarkar, that the decision of the Speaker to appoint Mr. Gungwale as Chief Whip was erroneous, it was illegal. There was no material evidence to show that the MLAs were actually going to withdraw support to the Uddhav Thackeray government, and therefore the governor's decision to ask for a floor test was also erroneous. So basically, both the constitutional authorities, governor and speaker, today's judgment basically nullifies their decisions, says that their decisions were illegal.
These things are not relevant now because Uddhav Thackeray has resigned and he has not faced the floor test. That is very important, and that's why here once you are resigning and the other side you are asking to be restored, that is being refused by the court, which is a very good decision, and we welcome this decision. And you must have observed that Uddhav Thackeray had never listened to Sharad Pawar. Sharad Pawar ji has advised him not to resign. At the same time, in his own autobiography, he has clearly mentioned that Uddhav Thackeray was not meeting anybody, he was not meeting the people, he was not meeting the MLAs, not meeting the MPs, and that was the reason for the revolt that happened in Shiv Sena. That his autobiography remarks were also very rudely replied by Samna and Uddhav Thackeray fraction. And I think a senior leader like him should not have been treated like this.
But Mr. Kesarkar, you also heard from Uddhav Thackeray earlier this afternoon. He had a press conference jointly with the Bihar Chief Minister, Mr. Nitish Kumar, where he said that the Shinde government now has no moral authority or even constitutional authority to continue in office because the Supreme Court declared the actions of both the governor and the speaker, both of which resulted in the creation of this government or the paving of the way for the creation of this government, both of their actions as erroneous in law.
What moral he had to become the CM of Maharashtra with the support of Congress and NCP, who were rejected by the people of Maharashtra. The mandate of the people of Maharashtra is more important than anything else. And since he has resigned, the question of governor's decision does not arise at all. And as a whip, his whip, who is Mr. Prabhu, can always put before his part of the incidents before the Honorable Speaker, because they are claiming that attending a meeting not on the floor of the House, it is just not attending the meeting called by him, calls for disqualification. It is never written neither in the Act nor the rules framed under this Act. That's why I feel that these are all academic questions now.
But now that this legal hurdle has been crossed, Mr. Kesarkar, do you believe it's time for the BJP and the Shinde faction, the alliance now, to call for the BMC elections? And also, can you assure viewers who are watching this program that both for the parliamentary elections and the Vidhan Sabha elections in 2024, you will fight united as an alliance, that is BJP and the Shinde faction?
We are not Shinde fraction, we are Shiv Sena, and we have that symbol also, and that is not challenged and not accepted by the Supreme Court also. We can function separately. That is what the Supreme Court has said. So we'll act separately. We are in alliance with BJP, and this is called Yuti government in Maharashtra, which will work for Maharashtra, people of Maharashtra, and will restore the back glory of Maharashtra.
No. So what about the question I asked? Will you call for the BMC elections, something that you'd been loath to do up until now, and will you fight both parliamentary and Vidhan Sabha elections in alliance next year?
All elections together, and we'll win it, and we'll work for the Maharashtra. Yes, certainly. And that too, Fadnavis Sahib has clearly mentioned that under the leadership of Mr. Shinde, the election would be fought.
All right. Okay. Deepak Kesarkar, we'll leave it at that. So you had two top legal voices and two political voices from either side of the Shiv Sena divide, as it were. We'll leave it at that. Like I said, as of now, there is no legal threat or constitutional impediment to the Shinde-Fadnavis government to continue, and so it will up until 2024 when the term of this assembly concludes. That's a wrap. We'll see you again tomorrow night, same time. Good night.
Yes, actually, the day Imran Khan was arrested, the same day, not only myself, but many other people, including some legal experts and constitutional experts, they were of the view that the arrest of Imran Khan inside the premises of the Islamabad High Court was against the law, because he came to Islamabad High Court and he was preparing to file an application in the court, and for that purpose he was called in the record room for the biometrics, because in Islamabad High Court you cannot file a petition without biometrics. So he was a part of the legal process which was going on inside the premises of the court. So that's why the Supreme Court of Pakistan today declared that his arrest was not legal, but they ordered to release him. And Imran Khan requested the Supreme Court that he wanted to go to his home in Islamabad, which is situated in Bani Gala. But Supreme Court said that, no, you cannot go to your home. You will be the guest of the Supreme Court. And he asked the Inspector General Police of Islamabad to arrange the guest house in the police lines in Islamabad. So right now, Imran Khan is free, but he is in the custody of the Islamabad police, and now just few moments ago he was transferred to the guest house in the police lines area, and the Supreme Court also allowed 6 family members of Imran Khan that they can also spend the night with him in the same guest house.
So what do you make of that? The court saying on the one hand his arrest was illegal, he should be released forthwith, yet at the same time the court also saying that he should be kept in a guest house under the custody of the Supreme Court, if you will. He has to be produced in the Islamabad High Court tomorrow. He has to join the investigations by the National Accountability Bureau. So technically, he is not a free man just yet. What do you make of that?
I think that he is partially free because, you see, the arrest warrant which was issued by the National Accountability Bureau. That arrest warrant was not discussed in Supreme Court today. So as far as my legal knowledge is concerned, so that arrest warrant is still valid. And according to that arrest warrant, the NAB will try the level best to implement the arrest warrant. And when tomorrow Imran Khan will go to Islamabad High Court again and complete the process, and then definitely he will come out of the Islamabad High Court, so NAB can arrest him again. But it's not only one case. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Pakistan also told Imran Khan that there are many cases against you, and he was aware that there are many cases, and as far as my knowledge is concerned, in 2 cases there was an arrest warrant which was issued many weeks ago, but it was not implemented. If you remember that many weeks ago, a party of the Islamabad police, they went to Lahore and they approached Imran Khan to implement the arrest warrant. They just wanted to show him the arrest warrant, but on that day, the supporters and workers of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, they never allowed Islamabad police to enter inside the house of Imran Khan. So that arrest warrant is still valid, and there is another arrest warrant in another case, and also the Tosha Khana case is very important, and Imran Khan was indicted yesterday in the special court. So the problems for Imran Khan are not over.
So those are all the legal troubles and the legalese, but politically, Imran Khan can turn around and tell his supporters that this is exactly what I've been warning all along. These supporters have been rioting, they've been attacking civilian as well as army installations. He can turn around and tell them that this validates and vindicates his position that there is a corrupt system out there, represented by the civilian government and maybe even elements within the army. And he's the guy who's trying to fix the system, and now the system is fixing him. So in a sense, the events of the last couple of days, politically speaking, when he is finally fully released, doesn't this vindicate his position?
Actually, the case in which Imran Khan has been arrested, the case is very strong as far as my understanding is concerned. And Imran Khan was asked by the National Accountability Bureau to join the investigation, but he was reluctant to join the investigation. And they sent him many requests that he and his wife, Bushra Bibi, they should join the investigation, but they never joined the investigation. Today, Imran Khan told the Supreme Court that I responded National Accountability Bureau through my lawyer.
Okay.
But that is not the case. I think that there are some other cases also in which Imran Khan was asked to join the investigation, and he never joined the investigation. So it's good that the Supreme Court have provided an opportunity to Imran Khan that now the NAB can contact him tomorrow in the premises of the Islamabad High Court, when then he will come out.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. Our lead remains Pakistan. Way too many things are happening there. Imran Khan's arrest has been declared illegal, but he's still not free. He'll have to fight for his bail. He'll have to appear before the Islamabad High Court tomorrow. The army has been deployed in 3 provinces in Pakistan. More than 9 people have died in the protests. The question is, what happens next? The army is the main actor, but it's dealing with an unprecedented situation. Violent protests are not new in Pakistan, but protests against the generals are virtually unheard of. Some analysts are talking about a divide in the army, but as of today, the theory does not quite add up. On Vantage tonight, as we bring you the updates, we'll also analyze the Pakistan thriller. How did Imran Khan become such an influential politician and a political leader that he can rally supporters to take on the all-powerful army? Plus lots of other news from across the globe. The headlines first. Days ahead of Turkish polls, third-party candidate Muharrem İnce withdraws from the election. He is accused of taking bribes and features in an alleged sex tape. He is denied involvement in both. Armenia and Azerbaijan trade gunfire along their restive border. It comes ahead of EU-hosted talks aimed at resolving their 30-year-old territorial dispute. They've already fought 2 wars over disputed territories, mainly Nagorno-Karabakh. Third blast near India's Golden Temple in a week. Punjab police arrest 5 people for the explosion in Amritsar last night. The first blast near the famous site took place on Sunday, the second on Monday. Australia's trade minister heads to Beijing. He's on a mission to mend ties. Australia wants China to lift import barriers after years of sanctions. Beijing is Canberra's largest trading partner. The trade ministers will be meeting in person for the first time since 2019. And EU lawmakers take the first step towards curbing AI. In a crucial vote, they've come a step closer to regulating AI tools like ChatGPT. This will be the first comprehensive legislation governing artificial intelligence. Pakistan is a thriller at the best of times. Today, it's been a nail-biter. There have been way too many developments today. We've been tracking them all day. It's still quite fluid, so we'll try to bring you the latest and make sense of the drama. The big headline is this: Imran Khan has been released from jail. He'll spend the night at a police guest house and won't be treated as a prisoner. Also, the government of Pakistan will now be responsible for his security. How did this happen? Thanks to Pakistan Supreme Court, the top court in the country. It declared Imran Khan's arrest illegal, null and void. But this is just one case, and the reprieve may be just for one day. He must appear before the court again tomorrow, this time the Islamabad High Court. And the High Court will decide if he gets bail. So he's not out of the woods yet, far from it. Yet his supporters are celebrating. The same people who'd been protesting for the past few days, they're cheering the court's decision. Now, whatever the High Court decides tomorrow, Imran Khan's supporters will be more aggressive going forward. They'll also be more dangerous. And that's one part of the story, the legal fate of Imran Khan and the response of his supporters. The second and perhaps more important part is the impact on the army. Remember, the Pakistani military is facing its toughest test ever. They've lost every war they fought against India, but at home, the generals reign supreme. Today, their authority is being challenged. This is the first time in Pakistan's history that the army is being physically attacked by the people. So they must make their moves carefully. It can end in carnage or change. Imran Khan is proving to be a tough customer for them. He's fighting back on all fronts. He was arrested on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, he was produced before a judge and remanded to 8 days in custody. Who got the custody? The NAB, the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Pakistan. Imran Khan told the judge that he was being ill-treated, that he was being tortured in custody, not even being allowed to use the washroom. Today, his lawyers approached the Supreme Court and they made the same complaint. They said the Rangers were misbehaving with the former Prime Minister. The court took up the matter. It declared the arrest illegal. It asked for Imran Khan to be produced before the court in 1 hour. As the headlines flashed this, more drama ensued. Intense speculation on what would follow. Would the judges defy the generals? Or were the generals looking to diffuse the protest through the judges? Well, whatever the case, Imran Khan was produced before the court. Amid tight security, he was brought to court number 1. He came in a convoy of 15 vehicles. There were rangers and local police, even a bomb disposal squad. Once Imran Khan was in court, the judges did not waste any time. They came down hard on the NAB for the way in which the arrest was made. And they ordered the immediate release of Imran Khan. So what is the basis of today's decision? A technicality. Let me explain with this video. You've seen it earlier on the show. This was the moment of Imran Khan's arrest. He was getting his biometrics done. The Pakistani Rangers broke windows, they barged in and they arrested Imran Khan. Khan's lawyers said they'd sought a pre-arrest bail. Where? At the Islamabad High Court. They said the Rangers interfered with the process, with a pre-arrest bail hearing. They arrested Imran Khan without giving him a chance to seek bail, and that is illegal, and that's ground for reversing his arrest. The Supreme Court has declared it null and void. Tomorrow will be another action-packed day in Pakistan. Imran Khan will get a chance to defend himself before the Islamabad High Court. But guess who else may have to defend himself? The Chief Justice of Pakistan, the man under whose watch Imran Khan's arrest was reversed. He's a man called Justice Umar Ata Bandial. We told you about him last month. He was in the news over a leaked audio tape. It featured Justice Bandial's mother-in-law. She was speaking to the wife of a PTI lawyer. What was the discussion about? The Chief Justice, the possibility of snap polls, and the current Pakistani government led by the Sharifs and the Bhutto Zardaris. Apparently, both women were unhappy with the government. Now, critics say this has influenced the judicial process, that the Chief Justice of Pakistan was influenced by his mother-in-law. That's the charge against him, and that he's sympathetic towards Imran Khan. Now, those in the government are wasting no time to rake this up. Maryam Nawaz, for instance, has said that the Chief Justice must step down. He hasn't responded yet, but in recent times, he has delivered some crucial judgments, and we must bear them in mind, including the one that decided the fate of Imran Khan as Premier. Last year, around the same time, Justice Bandial delivered a verdict against Imran Khan. He upheld the no-confidence vote against him. Today, he ruled the other way. So on the basis of facts, it may be hard really to challenge his neutrality, but then again, the Chief Justice is not the protagonist of the story. Not even in Imran Khan, perhaps. This story is about Pakistan's army more than anyone else. And the anger that they face. The pictures are very, very powerful and telling. Take a look at this. A Pakistani citizen in front of a Pakistani military establishment openly challenging the military, saying, "We will not go back." And that's the general sentiment. The government has blacked out social media in Pakistan, but there's no stopping protest videos. Here's another one. It shows security forces dragging a woman protesting in favor of Imran Khan. All of this happened yesterday. If the idea was to scare the protesters, it did not work. We told you about protesters storming the Corps commander's residence in Lahore. They destroyed furniture, they looted all kinds of things like peacocks. They were seen walking out with the birds. They also stole food like frozen strawberries, and they made videos of all of this. Take a look.
I got this frozen strawberry from Corps commander's refrigerator, deep freezer. We are all enjoying it here. Look at this.
The protests were not limited to Pakistan, though. Supporters of Imran Khan were demonstrating across the world. At New York's famous Times Square, Canada's Mississauga Celebration Square, and outside the Pakistani High Commission in London. Today was the third day of protests. 9 people died. Petrol bombs were thrown at over a dozen government offices. Even Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif was not spared. His Lahore residence was attacked. There were violent protests in Peshawar. Offices of the Election Commission of Pakistan were ransacked. Cars and motorcycles were set on fire. Soldiers were deployed across Pakistan. The army was summoned for support in 3 provinces: Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. These provinces represent 75% of Pakistan. The army's deployment was followed by a sweeping crackdown. More than 1,300 people have been arrested across Pakistan. States like Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have witnessed the worst violence in recent days. The army has been deployed there, like I told you. They're calling these protests, a black chapter in Pakistan's history. Rawalpindi, in fact, released a strongly worded statement. It was filled with warnings. It said that no one will be allowed to take the law in their hands. And this is a reference